Tagalog Movie Recaps.
Today I'll explain a film title, True Story. A journalist Finkel is shown at the opening of the movie. Finkel is sitting with a group of people, taking notes for an upcoming article. Later, another character named Longo is introduced. But when a girl approaches him, he tells her his real name is Finkel. He's telling everyone his fake name. I'm Finkel, and I work for the New York Times. Finkel, on the other hand, is taking notes while writing an article in another city. Later, we see journalist Finkel, who is having a party with his friends. Because his article has been on the covers of 3 distinct magazines. Meanwhile, the head calls him and inquires about your actions. You've combined 2 different tales into one article. This is against journalism. Finkel claims I've never done something like this. If you haven't done anything yet, show me your notes, his supervisor adds. When he sees the notes, his deception is exposed. He jumbled up 2 stories and added murder to a child's persona. That this child has killed someone. He's changed the man's name in the other story. He's mixed up 2 stories in this way. He was fired from his job as a result of this. He returns home and tells his wife everything that has happened. He appears to be looking for a job as a journalist. He was fired from the Times magazine. 2 years pass in this manner, and a news reporter approaches him and informs him that there's a killer who has murdered his entire family. And his name is Finkel, and when he finds out, he checks his laptop for interest because the news has gone viral. That Finkel had murdered his family, he's a psychopath. Finkel approaches the journalist. Finkel wants to meet Long, he'd murdered his family and was now known as Finkel. Finkel's wife wonders if he should meet the killer. He claims that after meeting him and gathering facts, I'll publish it, and possibly reclaim my career. Finkel now arranges a meeting with a man named Longo. Longo admires Finkel's writing, and he comments, I always admire your writing. True stories are always published by you. He promises that I'll tell you everything about how I've become this way. But in exchange, you'll teach me how to write. You won't tell anyone about our talk until I make my final decision. Finkel sees Longo on a daily basis and knows that he is innocent. Longo claims to be faultless, claiming that he could not harm his family, because he truly loved them. Finkel visits Longo in prison on a daily basis. He teaches Longo how to write a book and how to use words to prove himself innocent. And Longo sends Finkel a long book and numerous letters. Longo recounts how he made poor choices throughout his life in this book. Finkel finds that Longo's writing style is similar to Longo's after reading his book. Their writings have a lot of similarities. Their letter writing and word usage were strikingly similar, and after reading that book, Finkel visits Longo in prison once more. He informs him of the errors he made while authoring the books. He shows him how to compose a sentence, and informs him that if he speaks a sentence, he will think of a similar line. And you'll have to compose it. Finkel helps him by practicing and teaching him how to write. As the days pass, Finkel gains a better understanding of Longo. He now believes Longo is responsible for his family's murder. He could be deceiving Finkel in order to get his favor. Finkel was now perplexed, and Longo had a court hearing a few days later. When Finkel meets with Longo, he tells him that he'll confess in court, that he's the murderer, and Finkel informs him that he can't go. You'll come to an inside be ended this way. Longo says I can't tell you everything, nor can I share everything with you. It's possible that I'll have to defend someone. And in order to protect them, I'll take this murder on me. Longo is present in the court in the next scene. He also admitted to killing his wife and daughter. Finkel arrives at Longo's cell later and says, that is exactly what you did in front of the judge when you confessed to murdering. And why have you lied to me? And then stormed out angrily. He runs into the detective outside who had arrested Longo. The detective approaches Finkel, and informs him that Longo is a dangerous man. He's a peculiar man who tells you stories and narrates them. The detective instructs Finkel to tell the detective what he knows about Longo. He refuses to tell since he promised Longo that he would. He won't reveal anything about his conversations with Longo. The detective goes out disappointed. Longo has a chance for a trial the next day. He is asked to tell his narrative of what occurred that day. He claims that he had a talk with his wife the day before the murders, and that he couldn't afford the household expenses, so he stole the majority of the stuff. One day, he informs his wife that the van he had given her is a stolen van. These were stolen stuff in addition to many gifts. His wife becomes enraged and tells him to stay away from her, saying, "I don't want to see you again after today," and they fight. Both were depressed the next day, and when Longo returned from work, his wife was crying. He inquired as to why she was crying, but she continued to cry. She refuses to tell him anything, and he discovers that his children have gone missing as well. He grows furious and asks his wife. His wife claims that you are to blame for everything. You've killed them all, and when he enters the room, he notices his daughter is bound by bedsheets. He makes his daughter cold when he touches her, but her breath continues to pass. Longo becomes ragged seeing her daughter in such a state. He approaches his wife and takes her by the neck, inquiring about his two daughters. She says they're in the water, which indicates she's also killed them. Longo becomes ragged at this point, and after pushing her neck, he kills her and walks into the upper floor room after killing his wife, where his daughter was twisted and about to die, and he can't stand seeing her like this and attempts to kill her. But he can't because he can't handle seeing her like this. He now takes 2 suitcases in which he keeps his daughter. He keeps a teddy bear because he fears my daughter will be lonely, as well as some clothing. He finds out that his daughter is still alive as he was to lock the suitcase. However, he continues to lock the suitcase and wants to keep his wife in another. But his wife wasn't adjusting, and after breaking her neck, he packs her up. Finkel's wife was also present during the court proceedings. She calls Longo on Finkel's phone and goes to the jail the next day to meet him. She is aware of Longo's true nature and informs him, "Whatever you do, you are a murderer." This truth cannot be avoided. She warns him not to tell her husband false stories. Longo was sentenced to death in the other judicial cases. Longo, a psychopath, admits in court to having perpetrated the crime. He's been sentenced to death, and while he's being handcuffed, he shows him gestured eyes while walking, and Finkel recognizes he's being used. He wants to polish his story, and only Finkel can teach him how to do so in a way that people will trust him. After some time has passed, we notice Finkel approaching Longo. Longo alters his statement once more, saying that when he returns home, he witnessed his wife murdering his daughter. He passed out and had no recollection of who had murdered his family. Finkel gets irritated and declares, "I'm not going to believe your lies." Finkel says, "You'll tell the entire tale in front of the judge. I'll tell you everything about your truth right now, and I'm not going to believe your lies. Now, I'm not going to join you," and Longo says, "Any success you have is due to me. Because you'd published the book I'd given you. Regardless of how well known that book is, I am the reason for your success. Now you're not going to assist me," and Finkel gets shocked. Longo has now been punished. Finkel, who was publishing his book, he was narrating to his audience based on a true story. When the question session comes and a man questions, Finkel feels as if Longo is questioning him, and the man asked Finkel that Longo has lost his success. "You must have lost something." Finkel, who was listening to this, couldn't answer him, because he too has lost something and has left to write for Times magazine. But Longo still writes stories for Times. This movie ends here.